Today was Aaron Rodgers Day with the New York Jets. What was that?
Today's not Aaron Rodgers Day.
I think it might be Aaron Rodgers Day.
Yeah, all right.
He showed up at the Jets facility today. We got some sound to play for you. And I guess overall, the biggest takeaway is that Rodgers is not shying away from these expectations. He's... Did you just spit out your coffee? No, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Maybe it's because I'm here in New York, but the words Super Bowl and Jets and Aaron Rodgers, it's too soon to put those three words together. It's actually four, I guess.
Yeah.
Is Super Bowl considered one or two words?
It's two words.
But, and calling it Aaron Rodgers Day, yes, the drama has ended for now. It's end of April. It's Aaron Rodgers. You know there's going to be 10 more different weird things that happen here. Everything feels good today. It does feel like Aaron Rodgers Day, but that never lasts.
Okay, here's a little of Rodgers for you, because this just happened just moments ago, so we want to be as up to the minute as humanly possible. So let's hear from Rodgers, EJ. Let's first hear about the fact that he thinks they can win it all.
You know, I'm an old guy, so I want to be a part of a team that can win it all. And I believe that this is a place we can get that done.
All right, so...
But it's not quite the guarantee.
It's not exactly Joe Namath's guarantee by the pool in Miami before Super Bowl III or something like that. But he did go on to say, and this was after his press conference, he was doing a report, an interview rather, with SNY, and he said the Jets first got on his radar when they came to Lambeau last year and the defense kicked their ass. I mean, he said the defense just completely took them out of everything they wanted to do, and that's what first kind of opened his eyes to the Jets is not your same old Jets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
know it all feels glowing. I just first of all, I've seen this press conference before. I mean, I literally saw it. I watched in 2009. I remember it was on TV when Brett Favre came here. And it was glowing then. It's just that something about the way he talks and the way he's doing this just makes me feel like we are on the brink of something completely unexpected and dramatic happening. Wow. Because it's something's just going to go weird with Aaron Rodgers. They might be great. They probably will be a very good team, but he's been very good in Green Bay, and it's still been just a hassle. What I took away from it was not the Super Bowl promise, but hey, are you going to be here for 2 years? And the way he talked around that.
Well,
so
let's hear from that. Because
yeah, that to me was very significant.
We can play. He was asked, like, how long are you going to be here?
There's a lot more than just the playing part. There's the body part that comes into play. But the reason I take care of myself is to allow myself to continue to play into my 40s. And I'd always dreamt about being a starter at 40. I'll turn 40 in December of this year. But I'm going to be here for the foreseeable future.
Foreseeable future. Now,
does that have a little bit of an immunized vibe to it? When he said he was immunized?
A little mincing of the words, parsing of the words, rather. I'll be honest, if a general manager says for the foreseeable future at like the combine or something, I'm usually the next thing out of their mouth is a complete lie.
That's true. So you're right. Foreseeable future, that's a lying line, isn't it?
That's one of those buzzwords like the for now. You know, he's our quarterback for now. No, I do think Rodgers has every intention. I think he has every intention of playing for 2 years. I do.
Yeah, you just said the word. That's an even bigger buzzword for a lie. Every intention. I have every intention of playing for 2 years. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have every intention of doing this radio show for 20 years. Hopefully we can. I get what you're talking about.
No. Usually you say you have every intention of doing something when you completely control it. Yeah, we really want to do this radio show for 20 years. We don't have every intention. Every intention means I have every intention, but, you know, intentions change.
I took him at face value on this one. But by the way, I don't know who dreams about playing into their 40s. Yeah. Playing into your 40s kind of sounds painful. But listen, he's getting paid a lot of money to play into his 40s. So he's going to be 40 in December.
I mean, this could end up very Favrean in the sense the money is gigantic. So if they don't have the success that they're hoping for this year, they're going to face a tough decision with Aaron Rodgers. It's going to be year to year, like it's been for the last 3 years with Green Bay. I did come away a little bit, oh, man, they're going to be in the same spot that Green Bay was in. Where is Aaron going to play? And then maybe just like Favre, new teams come on the horizon where the money's just too much. So I just feel like there's a lot of pressure with the Super Bowl talk. I don't take it as, I understand in New York they're very hopeful. To me, it's like this has all got to come together really fast or it's not going to work.
To be honest, it's probably, I know you'd take a Super Bowl no matter what, but if you're really trying to play the game here, it's probably better for them to just make the playoffs and be a good team and show a lot of signs of improvement year one to make sure he comes back for year two.
Yeah.
If you win the Super Bowl year one, well, mission accomplished. Who cares? But you're also giving away a first-round pick for the next year, and he might walk, what did he say? Walk into the sunset? Drive off into the sunset as a Super Bowl champ, a little like Peyton Manning.
That's probably true. Well, what about this? What if they're 11-6, like Favre was 9-7?
Yeah.
And it doesn't quite jive offensively, which is very possible. I understand Nathaniel Hackett is there. Could he say, look around and pull a Favre, and he is outstanding in Chicago, and they're going to need a quarterback?
Oh, boy.
That's my long-term play.
Oh, my gosh.
Aaron Rodgers will be here 2 years. He'll be in the league 2 years. So, but do you agree with the fact that there's a bit of a high wire act for the Jets because there's a ton of money invested here, and you just do not know with Aaron Rodgers how long it's going to last?
Listen, they didn't have another choice. And that's their own fault. They didn't have another choice. They totally... I can't say they misplayed this because I just watched Aaron Rodgers do an introductory press conference for the Jets, so they ultimately got him, and he's here. But, man, if they had a couple do-overs on how this negotiation went, maybe they didn't have to give up as much money or as much compensation as they did.
Yeah.
Like, they never even faked having any interest in Lamar Jackson. They never, I mean, they did show some interest in Derek Carr, but obviously that was a little... that was like a plan B if they couldn't get Rodgers. And then, but his timeline was different. Carr wanted to sign right away, and I think he always knew he had New Orleans in the back pocket because New Orleans was the only team that gave him a visit when he was still trade eligible.
Right.
Okay, more from Aaron Rodgers from today. You mentioned Nathaniel Hackett. That hire, it worked.
A big reason I'm here, I got to mention, is Nathaniel Hackett, who's here. Hack and I became really close friends for 3 years in Green Bay, and I love him like a brother, and I believe in him, and I'm really happy to be back working with him again.
I mean, the same Nate Hackett that was attempting 64-yard field goals in Seattle, but Rodgers loves him. So
well, it's funny because it wasn't enough to get Rodgers to Denver last year, and that was obviously Plan A in Denver last year. I think that was part of it, but I think that honestly, did Aaron Rodgers have any choices here?
Yeah, he could have retired.
Right. Well, I mean, as far as teams, though, Green Bay, it seemed he talked about coming out of the darkness retreat today too.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. The Green Bay side of things.
Yeah, Green Bay didn't want him. So, how many choices did he really have? Do you think that? Did you get any sense coming off of this? It felt like it was Jets all along. No Titans, no Niners. Really, it felt like it was really. As you mentioned, the Jets negotiating really against themselves.
Yeah. I think that here's how it would have gone. If Rodgers had said, oh, hell no, I'm not going to play for the Jets, I think you would have seen other teams materialize.
Yeah, I think that's right.
The fact that, like, the owner and the coach and the GM, they all flew out to see him, and then a week later on McAfee, he's saying, my intention is to play for the Jets. I think it scared everybody else away.
Yeah.
So... and I think, honestly, the Packers kind of looked at the Jets as suckers in this. And unless the Jets win a Super Bowl or have a really nice run here with Rodgers, they probably were. Again, they were desperate for a quarterback, and the Packers got him for a first-round pick and likely a first-round pick and a second.
Right. I mean, the worst-case scenario would be if he's Russell Wilson with Denver last year and they end up with a top-5 pick. I don't see that happening at all.
I don't think the Jets are going to implode. No,
right. So I think the Jets, the Packers are getting a lower first-round pick. I would say most likely somewhere between 20 and 30 is the most possible. If you look at the odds for the Jets. So, yeah, they gave away the 24th pick or something. That's not going to kill the Jets.
No, and again, they were desperate.
They were desperate.
The 6th best Super Bowl odds right now. I mean, it's been a long time since the Jets, as you mentioned, in Super Bowl were ever in the same conversation without us having a nice hearty laugh. Okay, from the Green Bay side of this.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Because as much as they will try to paper mache over it or platitudes or whatever, there's clearly some bad blood between Rodgers and the Packers. Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers are moving on.
Well, yeah, but remember there was a whole gratitude thing, and, when Rodgers talked about the Packers on McAfee show, the same show he said, I intend to play for the Jets, he was glowing about the Packers. Glowing. Right. It wasn't until subsequently the Packers said we couldn't get in touch with Rodgers, right? They said we tried to get in touch with him. We couldn't make contact with him. I always thought that sounded like BS. You got Rodgers. He's got an agent.
The dude was in a darkness retreat?
For 4 days. I mean, 4 days isn't killing your franchise.
You're telling me you trusted Aaron Rodgers in this offseason scenario more than the team?
Well, I'm just saying it's not like Rodgers isn't Lamar Jackson here. It's not like you got to call, the mom to get in touch with him or whatever. Rodgers has one of the best agents in the entire league, and David Dunn. And you could always call his office, and he knows he's in a darkness retreat. He'll be out in 3 days. Hold your horses, Packers.
Oh, yeah, that old football negotiator. Hey, did you guys call that left tackle? No, he's in the darkness retreat. Like this has ever happened in the history of sports or anything else.
To me, it was
Come on, he's so unusual. Of course they tried to call him.
Well, but it was weak sauce by the Packers, I thought, because they knew that everyone in the world knew he was doing this darkness retreat. If I knew it and you knew it, of course the Packers knew it.
But they obviously called a different day, too. I mean, if they're to be believed, it's not like they called during the darkness retreat and they didn't.
Yeah, and he conveniently didn't pick up, so they moved on to Jordan Love.
But I think that they probably, out of politeness, did try to call him.
Okay, well, let's hear from Rodgers, because from his side of things, and you're going to learn a little bit about Aaron Rodgers in this clip and about his house and everything. Never got a missed call.
I don't know if I need to really get into the specifics. I will say, people that know me, I'm fortunate to live in a beautiful house. The only downside is I have very limited cell service. So if you want to get a hold of me, I have to see your face. You got to FaceTime me. So the only response to the communication thing is there's records in your phone about who called you, when, FaceTime, and there wasn't any specific FaceTimes from any of those numbers that I was looking at. That's neither here nor there because we're at this position.
That has immunization energy to it. Okay, there's so many outs in that sentence. First of all, he's saying nobody FaceTime me. So did someone text you or call you?
Wait a minute. Can we just back up before we even get to that? I just find as a iPhone user that the opposite is true. It's harder to FaceTime someone who doesn't have good cell reception than it is to actually text or call.
Right, that's because Aaron Rodgers was making that up in the press conference. That's exactly why that's out. And then he did specifically say, I didn't have any FaceTimes on my record, which to me said, oh, okay, so somebody texted him. Or something happened here.
Have you ever had a place when you don't have cell service, and then someone calls you and it goes to voicemail, but then you don't get the alert that the voicemail's there?
All the time. That happens all the time. That could happen. But at the very end, he said, I didn't see any. But he said, if you want to talk to me, you have to FaceTime me. And I didn't see any FaceTimes. So doesn't that imply?
He also said calls, I believe. Missed calls.
No. Well, but. Okay, I believe the team. I don't believe him in this case.
See, I think this is all BS, though, because Rodgers has a team of people around him, and you've known him for 18 years. There's not another person you can call. Hey, is Rodgers at his famously non-cell reception house because we're trying to get in touch with him? It's like they tried, but they didn't try hard enough because this is the outcome that the Packers wanted. They feel like they won today. Now, Jordan Love has got to go out there and perform, but they feel like they're the winners.
I think, as Aaron said, it's neither here nor there now because the Packers definitely wanted to move on. And regardless, calling him or not calling him, I'm not sure. Actually, maybe it is important in the big picture, but it's irrelevant today because they thought that they were going to lose him for nothing, right? Eventually, that he'd either retire this year or retire next year and get no draft picks.
Well,
at least they got a first rounder.
But they would get like some cap relief, Yeah,
which they did get, right?
Well, now they got him totally off of their balance sheet and they got picks. I mean, the Packers have to be doing a dance today. They have to feel so good.
I think so, right.
Now Jordan Love's got to be a Hall of Famer. Good luck out there, buddy.
Well, I agree with you.
Following up Favre and Rodgers. No big deal.
The reason I agree with you about the Packers, I don't think they were winning anything with Aaron Rodgers next year. I mean, we've seen this team keeps hitting their head against the wall in the playoffs. If they were coming back with Aaron Rodgers, would anybody be excited about them right now? No, I don't think so.
Well, I think there's always an element, whether it's like just respect for Rodgers and his career. I think there's always a they're probably going to win the NFC North.
Definitely.
Okay. The NFC isn't exactly gangbusters in terms of great quarterbacks right now. So you're going to the playoffs. I mean, the Jets, this is going to be a bit different. It's going to be hard to make the playoffs, but I think they have the roster to do it.
Right. My only point was I think Green Bay didn't care if he came back or not because they knew they weren't winning the Super Bowl if he came back. They're a young team.
Right.
Which I kind of worry about the Jets. The only thing I worry about the Jets is youth.
No doubt.
Yeah.
It's youth, but for some reason I'm not worried about their maturity. It's not like we saw outside of Zach Wilson. It's not like we saw a lot of real boneheaded mistakes from these young guys. It's like Garrett Wilson. We've now interviewed him twice. He's as mature as they come, at least on the outside. I think Sauce Gardner is like a little bit more of a character, but in a good way.
Yeah, he's a cornerback.
No off-field stuff. Like, these guys are young, but they don't seem immature. Does that sound?
But you could say the same thing. Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs seem like great guys.
Yeah, also same.
I do think, obviously, experience. You're right. That's a bit. I agree with everything you said about the Jets, except that I do think veterans are generally win Super Bowls. You need some old guys around. I think they have a few. I just worry that maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, see if C.J. Mosley is still on the roster.
Yeah.
Guys like Corey Davis have been around a little bit. Lazard's been with them.
Yeah, Lazard. They'll probably bring in Randall Cobb. Let's get a little
Randall
older.
Cobb is a given.
Yeah. Is Randall Cobb there yet?
Just get his locker ready. Oh, and speaking of which, if you were wondering when Rodgers is going to practice, because, there's a question about whether he'd show up for the voluntary stuff, well, he's getting right to work.
When you plan on practicing?
Yeah, does tomorrow count? Yeah, tomorrow. I'll be in there tomorrow.
Also said that he's now looking for a place to live, and he's going to start doing team bonding activities to try to get everybody on the same page. So look at Rodgers, now Mr. Camp Counselor.
Sort of. Even that answer was, are you going to OTAs? Does tomorrow count? Just say yes, Aaron. What's the deal? Watch him show up tomorrow, then disappear to Costa Rica for 6 weeks with Bradley Cooper or something.
He shows up August 1st. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, Perloff's not sold on this. That's clear.
No, that's all. I think Aaron Rodgers is obviously one of the great quarterbacks of all time. I think he's going to be really talented. For me, it's this stupid division and this stupid conference. What is that? Last year, you were warning me about the future of the AFC.
I told you.
Now, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers just left the NFC. 2 Hall of Famers.
I know.
Now it's just a bunch of nobodies.